So much, ndugu Jeremiah, ndugu Raila Amolo Odinga, former Prime Minister and the coalition leader, majority leaders who have been made to look like minority, Mheshimiwa Wandai, Mheshimiwa Bui, and the teams in Parliament, minority, majority, minority in the Senate, Senator Stuart Mazayo and Senator Ambua, and all the elected members of Parliament. I just want to take this opportunity to thank our presenter, Adam Zolo. I think he deserves a clap, a very big clap, because he spoke to us at a time when the world is in a spin, and where the weather, the wind bloweth, sometimes you are reminded of some works of art, and those of you who are students of Shakespeare will perhaps, if you have read the book that I once did in Form 5 and I think in Form 6, Hamlet by Shakespeare, where the chief character was contemplating all manner of things. And one of it was a soliloquy. He wanted to commit suicide. And he went something like this: to be or not to be? That is the question. Whether, ladies and gentlemen, it is nobler in the heart to suffer the slings of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing end them. That was Hamlet. And another one said, it was him actually went on to say, time is out of joint, oh cursed spite, that I was born to set it right. Time is out of joint. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, as we speak, here at Maanzoni, over 16,000 people have perished in a deadly earthquake. I think we should just stand. I feel in my heart we should just stand for a minute and remember the people of Syria and the people of Turkey, since unlike many other countries which are sending, we do remember, of course, acknowledge our brother is suffering that disability. I'm sure he's with us, Mheshimiwa Tim. Remember, when I say time is out of joint, remember seeing those children being pulled out of the rubble in Syria. And now the weather is not like in our case here. It's cold, biting cold, minus. And apart from those who are perished, others are going to perish because of lack of the wherewithal. Let's remember them. Thank you so much. And as if that is not enough, here at home, we are suffering reversals of our democratic gains. And whoever thought of calling for this retreat, I want to thank the leadership of our coalition and Parliament, because they thought right. Straight from your 2 weeks in Mombasa, was it? And I must congratulate Engineer Zambia, Honorable Kimilu. I just got information today that Wiper members from Makueni were actually received invitation to go to State House. I don't know why they're so selective. Yeah, just add that. And they declined. Politely. Because you can send very powerful messages very politely. Because if we are going to make sense of democratic gains, you do not go, as Adam Zolo has put it, cannibalizing political organizations and inviting members without reference to their leadership. It is unthinkable. Therefore, I saw others saying that Wiper is going to State House after our colleagues. I haven't heard anybody saying they're going there. I must thank the member for Mwingi Central, Gideon Mulungi. I'll give him, I'm choosing just an example. He was with us in Kamukunji, in Kibra, and actually he went a step further, declared himself a general from his side of the world. But he was invited by Moses Kuria to State House in Mombasa when the president was doing, and I use the word president advisedly, was opening some factory. And so, because there's coal in Mwingi Central, a lot of coal deposits, he was someone to go and explain why him, and I don't know why they left Irene Kasalu, the county women rep for Kitui, because I know she has been in the forefront in opposing coal mining in that area because of the current climate change arrangements all over. But Gideon went there, but he did the decent thing. He said, I've been summoned to State House. He called his party leader. He called his party leader. And I think that's the way to do it because of the urgency of the matter, and his committee was in Parliament. He just had the decency to call me, and I straight away said, please go. Because as Jeremiah said, if there are issues to do with your own constituency, you should feel free to do something. But then there's, take that against the negative, the opposite situation of a conspiracy to defraud democracy. A conspiracy to defraud democracy. Last night I was watching CNN, and a gentleman who is German has written a book, Ndugu, which I think we should look for and read. And Adams, please, I want to challenge you to look at that book and make a critique of it. The title of the book is Democratic Capitalism by one Wolf. And this morning, listening to BBC and the Director General of the World Health Organization, she was a Nigerian lady, very capable, and been asked, what do you say to the fact that globalization has died? And she said, allow me to differ with you. It hasn't. Of course, we are seeing it, like in the case of Europe, nationalism, European nationalism, and in the case of Donald Trump's America that time, America first, and but NAFTA arrangements, which is Mexico, America, and I think Brazil, or is it Brazil, the NAFTA arrangements out there, Mexico, America, Canada, thank you, is still in place. And we have in our region, of course, the building blocks towards African unity, the Abuja Declaration, if you remember, if some of you have looked at that. And therefore, the fact that we are strengthening regional integration as within East African community, that's why we're seeing the East African national anthem. I don't think we are cannibalizing our approach to regional unity. But Brexit, perhaps, was to blame for that kind of impression. And somebody last night was saying, Europeans, and actually quick to say, when President Zelensky makes a surprise visit to visit Prince Charles and the House of Commons and addresses them and asking, in fact, you are reminded of what Churchill once said during the Second World War, when he went to the US and said, give us the tools and we'll finish the job. I'm saying this as a background to what I'm just about to say. That as a nation, welcome sana ndugu Eugene Wamalo. Tumpigie makofi. And DAP DAP and I think KANU are really represented. When I heard them saying KANU is going to State House, I started laughing. So, fellow Kenyans, because you are leaders, if you're not careful, you're going to follow. You're going to find your own constituents ahead of you. And that's where they are. We saw that in Jacaranda. I saw that in Kibra. You're most likely going to see that in Mavoko tomorrow. And therefore, as a leader, you need to ask your question. Do you want to lead or you want to be led by your own people? Something is grossly wrong with our country. But I draw a lot of satisfaction out of the fact that Constitution 2010 is in place. And so, if it was not that for Constitution, some of us would be in detention for sure. Therefore, Adams, those of our fellow countrymen who struggled for democracy in this country remain our heroes today. Because of them, we have now established a tradition where even if you are president, Ndugu Raila, if you are the president today, you will require William Ruto as leader of your opposition. I saw last night during the address of the State of the Nation by President Joe Biden, perhaps the biggest democracy in our Constitution, 2010, is fashioned in a very straight way, very strong way along the American Constitution. He had to go there and plead with the Speaker, who is Republican, after Nancy Pelosi left. You know, the Republicans have gotten the leadership of the Congress. Now, William Ruto and his people did not have to cannibalize our majority. He could still have come and say, let's have a bipartisan approach. Joe Biden was there. This is the country we are in now. You cannot cannibalize democracy in this country. It will not happen. Not under Constitution 2010. Therefore, I just want to encourage us to be very strong and very focused. Very strong and very focused. I heard Wandai say that even if you are left 50 of you or 2 or 1, I think it's Junet who said even if it's 1, you are still the majority. This is the minority. But this is a team. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to encourage all of us tomorrow to toke namna hii, tuende Mavoko. This will be a rally enough. Because as I told you, if you don't do that, if you don't decide in your own mind and your own spirit that you want to be part of the action, please do not blame your constituents when after 4 years or thereabouts, they throw you out. Do you think these people who went to State House today, the ones who went the other day, if there's an election to be called, would they really? Poor Jalango. In fact, I was looking for him. I'm still going to look for Jalango. Because he was here. We must also exercise tolerance. When somebody wants to say sorry, don't throw them out. I see that is a point of departure. I will not withdraw my remarks. I will not withdraw my remarks. But imagine the state of mind poor Jalango is in. Because Kibra now is his hostile ground. You know, you are supposed to enjoy your tour of duty as an MP for your constituency. Let me tell you, I must congratulate our brother Tim Wanyonyi, and I'll tell you why. His brother is Speaker of the National Assembly, but he is elected on an ODM ticket in Nairobi, and he's here, and he's not afraid. If anybody was to go to State House, surely Tim Wanyonyi should have been leading them. Because the Speaker is there. my brother who forgot his struggling brother when we were eating tear gas with him and Tinga. My friends, time is extremely of the essence. What you decide to do out of Maanzoni today and tomorrow may shape your future positive progression in elective politics. And don't say you are nominated, because even then you may want to run at some stage. So I want to thank all of you for standing firm. This is a time to stand very firm and stand up and be counted. An opportunity like this is very rare, where leadership is expected of you. Please do not allow so that it will be said the 13th Parliament was the Parliament that brought down the democratic gains that this country had made. So, mimi sitaki kuongea sana, because I just wanted to share those thoughts before I invite my brother Eugene to come and greet you. And so, you know, this was your retreat, actually. So I thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much. You know, you didn't have to invite me, because it's your retreat. Eh? Nani anaomba kura? Kwani kura ni ya leo? I'm here to accompany Baba. Wacha hiyo mambo ingine. Sindio? Before we do that, we have some work to do. And that is to salvage our democracy. You're going to look at those figures. By the way, with all the noise that KK are capable of doing, do you remember I said they are Kenya Kwisha? With all the noise they're capable of making, none of them has contravened the findings of the whistleblower, because they're absolutely truthful. I like it, Adams. I like your sense of optimism when you think, when you said even the compromised judiciary will take judicial notice of the development, the political developments in this country. So, be there, be a champion. Be a champion. Let us really make sure this country is safe for the present generation and the generations to come. If we falter and go and eat ugali, or whatever it is, we will be counted on the wrong side of history. Some of us have decided to stand for what is in the best national interest of our country. And this time, we are called upon to stand firm and be a true buffalo soldier. Because if you are not, the alternative is you go home. Yeah, if you want to go home, mapema, start now. But I'm quite sure you now know, even in your heart, in your own mind and heart, I'm sure you remember, you can feel that all is not well with our country. And the people themselves are crying out. The confusion in the education sector, real confusion. People think high cost of living is global. No. But we had an opportunity when former President Uhuru had to negotiate tough with the IMF executive director, whatever the title is, to say, please allow, my people are going to perish. We want these subsidies in fuel, yeah, so that we at least can manage to get around. But for anybody to jump up and say, oh, it is a world problem. No, no, no. Therefore, stand and dig in for sovereignty of this nation, because it's a very important nation in the world. Even if you are to look at the biblical teachings and see what happened when and wherever, and then the spiritual dimensions of where we are, even the remnant of the church is beginning to stand up. What was the remnant of the church? Because the church stood compromised, are beginning to say, wait a minute, all seems to have gone wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Ndugu Eugene Wamalwa.